a very interesting fact. The daytime Emmys, I think I was a presenter or something. I was in New York, and I flew back, and Mark Goodson flew back with me, and he was reading Time or Newsweek, and they had a group of questions, and they had the answers that people gave, and they were, not the sort of things you normally would think. For example, if you went to the North Pole, who'd you expect to see? And there were penguins, and snow and bears. But the number one answer was Santa Claus, who, as I'm sure you know, actually lives in Florida, the Panhandle. But most people. So he said to me, that would be a heck of an idea to be inside a show like I've Got a Secret or 20 Questions. For the people, there are no right or wrong answers. The only answer is what the polls said. But they can be wrong, but if that's what they said, it would be correct. And, I said, yeah. I thought, is this how he invents game show? I did not think. Well, about 6 months later, Mark had promised if I continued with Match Game, because I'd been on that for a long time, I would get a shot at the first pilot, the new pilot. Suddenly we hear they're going to do a new pilot called Family Feud. And they're interviewing people, and it looks as though Bill...
Cullen?
No. Star Trek.
Shatner.
He was on the leading edge of getting it. And I went to see Mark Goodson with my manager, and I said, you said I could try out for your next pilot. And he said, well, you can. I said, but the guy you've already given a nod to is married to Perry Lafferty's daughter, Marcy. He was the one who's going to make a decision whether this show would go on or not. And so Mark said, and the problem being, I said, he doesn't have any more daughters that I can marry. Give me a break. Put me up against somebody just doing the show. I wasn't against William getting it, but he was married to Perry Lafferty's daughter. And that to me was, so Mark goes and said, well, okay, we'll try out and do it. So we came to do the show. Mark's wife, Kathy, was the producer. She'd come over from Password, Howard Felcher. In fact, all the grand, and we did it up Hollywood and, no, not La Brea and Wilmington. Where KCOP is, we did it in a theater near there. And the object being 10 people, they'd never had that kind of traffic. And everything about the show fit perfectly for me, for how I think. And I mean, I don't know whether I created or it was created, but survey said, I think one of the things was, and the survey says, it was never though just survey, no good answer, but I usually say good answer in a little sarcastic way. Name a vegetable you have to peel to eat. They say, grape. I said, oh, good answer. Yeah, I mean, or if I say, the dictator that we fought against in World War II, I say, Otto Preminger. I'd say the also manager. You know, I would always talk to them like they had made sense. But it's, you know, that's me. I tweak those things. They had a thing, 3 strikes and you're out. But they would come to the point, so here's a question. Now you've got 10 seconds to answer. Most of the stuff is done now if you're getting up. So if it was someone pretty or someone delightful, I know 12 seconds would go. And if someone not that pretty, they'd hit 8 seconds would go. Yeah, well, I didn't play those games. I could loathe the person who was up there. I give them the 10 seconds. I won't give them 11. You know, they tell me, well, I know when they're stalling. So I read a question. They say, can you repeat the question? I said, of course I can. You know I can. I've just repeated it. You say, will you repeat the question? I say, will you repeat the question? I say, no. No, because I know what you're doing. You're trying to think of Loganberry, you know, some bizarre. Now, if you're really trying and you're keen, I'll bounce all kinds of things. But I never ever wanted to be sat at home, as I am sometimes on quiz shows. Jeopardy I love, but I say, come on, you can't let them have 18 seconds when you gave the other people 10. Or we need both names. You know, I'll say no more. I'll never work on a game show in this town again.